Alright, we're back. Oh, skill point. Fair enough. Fallen arrow or shirt. +1 hand-eye coordination. Alright, down we go. This great blast door must weigh over 10 tons. Rust peels off it.
You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one. A heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
What's on the other side?
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable.
How do we open this?
Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He looks at the door, then at his bigger brother, then at the lock.
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
You're right. We opened the big one. Do you see controls anywhere?
I think there's a console just southeast. Let's look around. Getting the blast door open seems like the best plan.
Ah, what are these? What are those? Come on. Don't mind if I do. What's this hatch? This hatch is jammed shut. Noted.
Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
Run your fingers across the keyboard.
The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
What is this then?
The console of an antique computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here.
Could this open the blast door?
I think, yes. Let's see. That one. The emergency open.
Push light interior.
The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle, a dim ambient orange.
Turn emergency open.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
Cool. Damn. A lot more of that door open than I thought it was gonna.
After you.
What's there? Point to the door.
I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up, then dies down again.
What if we get into another fight?
Don't worry. I have a gun.
He takes out a sidearm, checks the barrel, then holsters it again.
Harry, this reminds you, you're out of bullets.
My gun is out of bullets, by the way.
Then it's extra good that mine is not.
Let's go. Man, thanks for sharing, Kim. Whoop. Walk slow. This might be dangerous. I wonder if there was stuff like further south that we were supposed to go check out, but not sure I care that much because this is the interesting way to go. Small white flowers blossom all around you. A rubber dinghy. It's deflated, broken. Who is this guy?
An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
You retained your eyesight.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
Are you the fire guy?
The what now? I can't hear you.
Did you recently tell 2 kids to put out their fire? 2 twins.
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position. Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
Did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
How did you know I was coming?
Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
It was not rock and roll, it was sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness. A weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate. Hip gyrating, mental illness music.
Nice gun you got there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done.
Is that a Bell McGraw?
It's a Triangong 446.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Signal commune. Military aid.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
The Signal commune?
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk wiped from the board.
I'm with the police. You can keep the gun, but keep it down. Not one move.
No.
The lieutenant aims his pistol square at the man's head and says,
Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
The old man lays the rifle down carelessly, then looks at it lying there.
Like an amputated limb in the sand.
Pick up the gun lying in the sand.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire.
Inspect it closer.
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Signal.
So as he said, Triang made in Signal.
Worn. Personalized even. Looks like this weapon has seen a lot of use, hasn't it, sir?
No response from the old man. The plastic cape around his shoulders rustles in a small bout of wind.
This uses jacketed ammunition. 4.46.
Jacketed. Military-grade ammunition. Stable in flight. Good for hitting something that's very, very far away.
He says, mostly to the old man.
As he speaks, he stresses every word. He's liking this.
Stow the gun.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response? Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession. In time.
Who are you?
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross. Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the Commune had fallen, still armed, and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
How long have you been on this island?
43 years. No. I've been on other islands too. I was an Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago.
Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years?
43 years and 10 months.
That's steadfast.
It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
He looks across the water.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41.
Marvel says, like that Japanese soldier they found that still thought World War II was going on. What year did they find him, Marbles? I vaguely remember hearing of this, but I don't remember the details.
2 police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Mayer inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting.
The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what?
For her to return.
Her who?
Girl, child, revolution.
Surrendered in 1974, 29 years hiding. That is wild. I've seen it. Capital is too powerful. The rich are very well organized. I came from there. I can assure you that's not what the people are planning.
I am not a fool. I know. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
What has he done? Perhaps a confession will lighten the load.
What have you done then?
Yes, what? To get things going again? Fan the flame?
There is no flame to fan. There is nothing left of the world, of our dreams.
You said you deserted your unit.
I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
Lapse of faith?
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took.
For what?
For reaction to take hold.
It wasn't a reaction. You were just afraid.
It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
And this was when?
The lieutenant instinctively looks to his notebook, but does not take it out.
May the 13th, 08. 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark magic.
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower.
He gestures towards it.
Huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon. But I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
You didn't go to the map room.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
What was that?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
Seen what?
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know.
What?
That the bourgeois are not human.
Say nothing. Let him finish.
I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop.
The old man falls silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks to some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. How have you survived all this time?
How does anyone survive? I steal.
What do you steal?
Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stew, too.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
How have you coped mentally?
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
His eyes roll into his skull and back.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
You notice the lieutenant is about to say something.
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
He looks down at his shoes, his face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
You said this is your termless surrender?
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol.
We're not coalition appointed. We just try to help people.
You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste d'Insolande. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit.
Drake's talked about that the coalition doesn't really like the RCM. So she did. I don't think any of those questions are interesting. I'm going to move on. I have another serious question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
Assess his body language. What was it? Composure. Where is composure? Here it is.
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild.
He's surprisingly okay.
Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated.
Animated by what?
It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads, as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. Great leaps of emotion, from anger to grief, despair.
Dementia?
You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
Mr. Dross, are you in some kind of a psychoactive substance?
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Are you on amphetamines?
Like some kind of decadent rock star.
He doesn't dignify it with more of an answer. Mr. Dross, are you okay? How's your memory?
No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled.
What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But
what?
this is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
Wait, so which one do I say then?
Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you, and in them a chill like electricity running up your spine, crawling into your skull.
What?
All is not as it seems.
Detective,
I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two?
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
So you're saying you killed people after active fighting stopped?
What did I just say?
He keeps shaking his head erratically, suddenly. He brushes something out of his eye.
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of this security contractor, Cornell?
The who now?
He leans in and cups his ears. You know who I mean.
The worm there. In the monster armor.
Nod.
An ugly piece of work, that boy.
He flashes a gap-toothed smile.
did you kill him?
The lieutenant takes a sudden step towards him.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember.
Come on, what am I forgetting? Hit yourself on the side of the head.
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh, yes.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here, and Maybells on Clausia's balcony. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Of course, thank you, Head. Thank you.
You got it. Remember? The boot prints were like no modern soul. Nothing else comes up. You see the lieutenant watch you try to stimulate thought processes by hitting yourself. I'm sorry, this didn't do anything. Usually hurting yourself does.
Officer, a word?
Excuse us for a moment, Mr. Dross.
I think we may have this.
Do you think he did it?
From nothing to this in a day. This is good, Lieutenant Gefreiter. We just need a confession first, and then maybe a solid motive later.
What am I missing? What haven't I done?
Ballistics. Let him cook here for a minute or two. We can have another look around the island for a sniper's nest. I think we should check out the post.
It doesn't have to hold in court. Just establish a line of sight, and he'll do the rest himself.
Remember, he wants to tell us, but he doesn't want to help us. It needs to look like we already have everything.
There is palpable excitement in his tone. He likes him for this. A lot. But there's something more, too.
Okay, gotta go find a sniper's nest. Back in we go. Man, I feel like we're really coming to it. Back inside. Is it this again? What is this?
Soft covers. Serialized. Fantastic.
Oh, thanks. Can't see that either. Okay, down and south. Come on. Water rushes below. Far down below. Oh, we're close. So close. firing slit. You can't see inside. Must have been a direct hit to take out such a huge chunk. It's right here. This is the sound of cargo ships. Signal horns echo on the water. Zoom out a bit so we can see. The pain in your pelvis makes you wince. Then you continue. Inside of the fortress, you can make out the console and the blast doors. An old medicine cabinet, newly stocked with Dramamine. Weathered artillery map showing coordinates in the Bay of Revachol.
There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
This looks like a good place to aim from.
Steps in closer with his hand on his gun. Inspect the mattress.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts.
Pick one out of the can.
The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri.
Our shooter's a heavy smoker.
Noted.
Inspect the wall.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window.
Touch the concrete first.
Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain.
Look through the hole in the concrete.
The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation, a tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar.
On the left.
A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B.
On the right.
The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10. The doomed commercial area.
And in between the two?
The box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop. Sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Clausia's room.
Motherfucker.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window?
Yes. There's an opening between 33A and 10. I can see to the roof.
I can see it. Through the scope of a rifle. The shooter would be prone, lying on the mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
Cheek against the cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger. On a calm day like this.
Kim. I could make it. I could make the shot.
Good. I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Finally.
In our defense, nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
7 people are dead.
Don't beat yourself up, officer. We did not put guns in their hands or get them drunk.
Looks north over the fortification, then adds.
The lieutenant pauses. Regret comes over him.
We will make up for it. Here. I feel it.
Next time we go. Never noticed what the main menu was the view of. It's a good note, actually, Marbles. A meta clue. Winch is broken. Rust has eaten what remains of the chain.
A strange feeling, looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea. Leave it all and walk in. With a bottle in your hand.
Raise your sight.
In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down. Islets and posts like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go. Step in. It's been too long.
Why?
Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you. Maybe you know it's going to hurt.
Shake your head. Well, I feel like that would have told us about the, I feel like we got fuel earlier in the game, and that prevented us from needing to go out here to find this fuel here. Yeah, see, alum fuel canister. But we already had fuel. So we would have had the ballistics already. Which is fine, but feels a little bit like we short-circuited, you know? It's alright. Back to where we were. The final confession. It's time. It's a shame I'm not more ready for this. I thought we had another couple weeks. I'm not going to have like a good way to wrap things up tonight, I fear. But we'll get to the end of the game and we'll talk about what comes after. Not for too long. Mel's waiting for me, but let's get there first.
Minions of capital. What do you want?
I'm not sure. Try it one more time, Mr. Dross, the Colonel. We need to talk to you about killing him.
Petty bourgeois law. This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
A drop of blood in the saliva.
Maybells, behind the victim's window. I saw them growing here.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly, nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinaise, only here.
They blossom on the islets before we fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinaise is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may.
A young woman called Classia, ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window.
Classier.
He repeats the name with care, as if it were at risk of breaking.
You like that name, don't you? She had an intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns the sight from whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch, a spasm.
There is a small tremble, looks like a smile, a crooked smile, yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Almost. But you need one more. Just one. Or maybe two.
Just wondering what brand of boots you were wearing.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Doras.
Fucking imbecile.
The man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out old running shoes on his feet.
The maker is called Sensory. You see their V-shaped logo, but can't make out the size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
Wait, maybe it's simpler than that.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
People change shoes. Doesn't mean you weren't there, near the room the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. More. He's gonna crack. But you need a little more.
We've done the ballistics. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
The lieutenant softens his voice.
You have been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
It's the best uninterrupted line of sight to that window in all of Martinez.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Another sudden twitch, then one more in his right eye.
Leave no stone unturned. Get him on what matters most.
I don't need your cooperation. I've got this.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
Saved a lot of them. Their leader, Titus. We handled that situation.
You didn't handle anything. I watched it happen. You let those fucks rip right into them. Got that girl killed, too. None of those people mean anything to you. The vultures feed on this city, and you prepare the meal for them.
So you watched the fight? Did you like what you saw? The mayhem. It was all your doing, your plan. You got them killed.
You don't know anything.
Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon. Actually, do you think we have the murder weapon?
4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it.
I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon.
Good.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds, and then twitches once more.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
He was a soldier, too. He was a man.
Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
So you killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling. while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Hold your breath.
I had them in my sights, both of them, him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly. Very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs, then smacks his lips.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
You pull the trigger.
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
Start with when he first saw him. It will give him a chance to ramble.
When did you first see the deceased?
3 weeks ago, when the rich hag came in on her galley. Her honor guard came in tow.
By that you mean Joyce Messier, the Wild Pines rep?
Wrinkled up whore.
What is it with these whores and pederasts? Aren't you a communist?
Black sexual morals are a bourgeois ploy. As to pederasty, the party legalized it in '04. My party, not your liberal masters.
He spits out on the dying coals.
So don't you sermonize me, you racist shithole. It's still bourgeois when the bourgeois does it, fiddling with their sexual organs.
Some strange glandular process takes place in him at the thought, like yeast rising.
Moving on, the victim arrives sometime after.
They moved into a deserted apartment above the roundabout. Radio equipment out for all to see. Reactionary radio playing, sloppy and drunk. I've seen their kind during the landing. Those Occidental and Mesk phalangs weren't conscripts. Boys like us. They were whites. All they know is to destroy and hurt.
Got it.
Hurting the strike breakers like that. I kept an eye on them.
What specifically do you not like about what you saw the night of the murder?
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that.
So you were jealous?
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. Drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But You can't have everything.
He wants to see her covered in blood. To punish her.
You wanted to punish her, so you killed him.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
You stare at them too. In your mind, her innocence day still turns to leaf. Airport bag in hand. Silks flowing in her wake.
This has got nothing to do with that.
It's no good, Harry. Her voice rings in the evening air. It smells of burning buildings.
Say nothing.
The old man raises his gaze. Something glimmers in the corner of his black eye. A bitter taste on his tongue.
You had feelings for that woman.
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
There have been others?
Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something.
Was that why you left the dried flowers behind your window?
No,
Why then?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was this?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her Maybells.
Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
Neither does he. He lowers his head, like a sunflower on a withered stalk. In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes. One more down.
So in conclusion, it wasn't about him, it was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes. Then the reads. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away, but she let us hear first. She figured out someone was watching her from the seafort.
Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week, at the island, like she knew. She'd look, at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, the oceanic wind washes 40-story towers. Above them, Lausanne's central aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft.
Shake it off.
On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still, she smiles among the crowd, fading from your mind's eye. Across the water, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, made of grey cinder block houses with Eternite roofs, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. He's there, doing what exactly, I don't know. Satellite Officer Vic Mayer points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstein is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place. Where? His voice trails off as the 3 walk down the jetty. As the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification like a rotten tooth rising out of the water. Good luck, Harry, she thinks. You need something good for this.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
You could get more out of him. He likes talking. Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
And looking at anything else you haven't liked?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house, stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
Mr. Clare?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Let him finish. Do not interrupt.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too.
Renee is dead.
Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Coyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
Say nothing.
That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter.
By cock parading in his colorful uniform, you mean Renee?
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June.
This guy is super prejudiced.
Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor.
Whoa, whoa, let's back off before you get too agitated.
What is there to be agitated about? The unholy ghoul. I love it there. He reminds me of everything we fought for. At least we killed Dafistel and his kingsman.
Glad we talked about this. Now,
Glad? It's all gone.
Yosef Lilianovich Dross, you're under arrest for the murder of Colonel here in Martinez.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This terror is the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But
Kim, he's afraid.
no, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
First say, does it have room for 3?
Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
There's something you're not getting here that he's realizing.
But what?
Who watches over him there while I come back for you?
Lillian. You could ask her, maybe.
Maybe we can just ask that nitpicker to watch him?
This is no harmless old man.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now.
Wait.
You thought you heard something, but it's just the reeds.
Is that the Phasmid?
Maybe we could all fit in there.
We could all fit in the little boat?
Actually, no.
You could come back for me once you've taken him to the precinct.
No, it would take a whole day on this island. You go and transport the prisoner. I'll be here. I can escort him to the pier with you.
No need to be polite, I'll do it.
This world. What are you talking about? Is this... us?
Your skin is crawling suddenly.
Whoa. Whoa.
A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
What is that?
What are you talking about?
The giant stick insect.
There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you, with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand move to your holster to grab the gun.
There is, I see it.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
Kim, can you see it?
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
Oh gosh. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. I was just checking on Mel.
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from its head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you. The segmented antennae move with apprehension, searching for something that's not there. Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks.
Laid the pheromone on thick. The miracle way out in the west? Your corpse will be marked by stars. Lena's childhood experience. +6. I love it. Approach carefully.
Slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. Like laughter, a sort of happiness. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water.
Okay, Kim. Take the picture.
Okay.
With a slow ring of metal, the lieutenant slides the lens open and raises it to eye level.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you.
That's so cool.
I got it.
You hear the lieutenant whisper as the creature's shape develops onto photo paper in his hand, a polychrome ghost of white streaks against the reeds in the sky, and you as a shadow before it.
For all time.
Slowly reach out and touch the creature's whisker.
The antennae hang from a great height. With your hand shaking, you barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the chitin curls into a spiral, like the tip of a poison ivy. Its touch on your fingertip feels cold, ticklish. The sensation is electrifying, resounding through your body. It is surprisingly delicate, the curly end of the whisker, like a young vine. It's even a bit wet.
Be careful, detective. It's moving.
Look at your finger.
You were right. It glistens with some kind of moisture. The creature in front of you stays frozen.
Lick your finger.
It tastes like sugar, very faint. The anthropod towers above you, tufts of reeds pointing from limb and head alike. Odorless, mostly comprised of water.
Carefully pet its scythe-like forearm.
The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. You feel a soft push could tip the creature over. Its hollow exoskeleton collapsing. Warning.
Run your hand up the slender limb, higher.
A small shudder passes the creature's arm. High above you, its black pearl eyes still glisten, mesmerized by the light passing its nervous system.
We got it.
Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you.
Raise your hand, slowly.
The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion, glittering. The world stands still around you.
Stridulation? Somebody help me out with the definition, please?
Suddenly, there is silence.
Raise the other hand, too.
As you do, the invertebrate comes to life, its limbs moving independent of each other, as if each has a mind of its own. They are white, like stalks of porcelain, knitting above you. Shifting around in the reeds around it, in the muddy water, you notice some of its hind legs apparently standing on the water from time to time. It's that light.
Stridulation is the act of producing sound by rubbing together certain body parts. This behavior is most associated with insects, but other animals are known to do this as well. Like crickets or rattlesnakes. Hello, I'm Harry. I don't really know who I am.
No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around you.
Oh good, the guy's still here. Stand on your tiptoes and look more closely.
You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming, slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish.
Kim, it's foaming.
Careful. It may be poisonous.
Lieutenant watches you apprehensively.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one.
Tell me, what are you doing? Knows of Parthenogenesis, tasted it, did not give up on Phasmid, spoke to the hanged man, +5.
I exist.
I exist too.
Tell me what it's like for you.
It's wunderbar.
Yes, holy is the Lord of hosts, and all the earth is filled with his glory. Now, I will tell you what it's like for me. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness, being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist.
Intruded upon by what?
Shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations. A swarm of sounds, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms. All speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never ache.
I'm glad to be me, an incredibly sensitive instrument.
Few of us can begin to imagine the horror of you, with all of creation reflected in your forebrain. It must be like the highest of hells, a kaleidoscope of fire and writhing glass. Eternal damnation. Even when you're sleeping, and when you wake, you carry it around on your neck, with eyes open that cannot help but swallow more behind the mirror. I feel great, mute empathy for you.
It was very disorienting at first, but I'm keeping my shit together.
That must be incredibly hard. The Arthropods are in silent and meaningless awe of you. Know that we're watching. When you're tired, when the vision spins out of control, the insects will be looking on, rooting for you. And when you fall, we will come to raise you up. Bud from you, banner-like, blossom from you and carry you apart in a sky funeral, in honor of your passing. But not me, because I'm just a leaf eater.
Detective. Arriving. On the scene.
I am a detective.
So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect?
I was born to detect you.
Yes. No one detected me for such a long time. For thousands of years. I dithered, out of sight. Trapped myself in greenery.
This is my masterpiece.
No one believed I exist. Almost no one. Until you came, detective. Dripping of blood that smells like strawberries. Across the calm sea. The first in 1,000 years.
What exactly are you?
I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmodia, endemic to the Insulindian Insula. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys. No, no one believed I exist. Almost no one. Until you came, detective. Dripping of blood that smells like strawberry.
Oh, it's the wrong audio clip.
Across the calm sea. The first in 1,000 years.
I went unnoticed by the first settlers and the land surveyors of the suzerain. Also by the soldiers of the revolution and the officials of the occupation. Even the Seminese islanders who came here first, but did not stay, have not seen me.
I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the citizen militia in Revelshop, district of Martinez, March 51.
Excuse me, Detective W. Freighter, thank you very much. Are you the miracle?
No. You are the miracle.
How?
The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively medium life form, while you are extreme, all-engulfing madness. A volatile simian nervous system, ominously new to the planet.
I like that perspective, actually.
The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all.
Wait, the Pale is human-made?
It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind.
I don't have that kind of power.
You're a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident.
How?
We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse.
Worse how?
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nerve mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if he misplaces us all one day, or just forget?
I've already forgotten the whole world once, when I drank too much.
So it is already happening. Soon, one of you will close your eyes and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
Kim, am I having a violent epileptic seizure?
It doesn't look like that, no.
What does it look like?
You're just staring at it.
I'm having a vision about the final fate of humankind.
Okay. Is it somehow related to the case?
No, I told you what it's about. Our fate.
I think you should back away from the unstudied species now.
I have to say goodbye now. I have no more thoughts. That was all. I've had my fill.
No, there is one more.
Of all the creatures I've met, you're the most beautiful.
Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you before you go. That woman. Turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. For all mankind.
I will.
She was hell on earth. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
Disengage, slowly.
As you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface.
Oh, its movement is so cool. An alien. Oh, it's so big and fast. And weird.
And, just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone.
The lieutenant looks north with his hand raised to his brow. What's that in the reeds?
Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look.
He can walk on water?
Apparently, yes. Like a water strider. Only, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
What now?
What now?
The old man behind you repeats suddenly. He puts his hands in the ash. It's dirty and black.
in some kind of strange, semi-catatonic state.
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him.
What is it?
Something is very wrong with him now.
Sir, how could you not see the phasmid?
See.
He stares at the reeds and falls silent.
Mr. Dras?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets. His gap-toothed mouth shaking with fear and longing, like an addict of some terrible substance.
Touch his shoulder gently.
The plastic cape feels coarse. A light shiver passes the man. Other than that, no reaction. He feels small and frail.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem. Doesn't it, Mr. Dras?
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid.
What has happened to this man?
Old age and shock.
I think it's the phasmid.
Yes, the arrest and the appearance of the phasmid, the combined stress. But you think it's something more than that, don't you?
There's much more. Remember what it said when it spoke? Quite a few things about that health check you did on him make sense now.
You couldn't see it, Kim. It's just the reeds for him.
That could be part of the shock. But you're right, something is off here. Mr. Dras,
No response.
Maybe this is how the phasmid has stayed hidden all these years?
then how did we see it? Oh, you mean, whatever does this, does it over time? Teenagers, kids, drunks, sightings are brief, and hence not credible. But anyone who spends a long time with it.
Yes, you forget it's there.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Dras, have you ever seen a stick insect pretending to be the reeds? The doctors will have to look at this. I hope your station has better medical personnel than 57. This is a little advanced for a nurse.
Before, when I evaluated his state, he seemed strangely animated.
He was energetic and articulate. After all these years alone, with little hygiene or medication, I would expect worse.
Perhaps this animation is induced by something in the phasmid?
It does not seem to be animated now it's left. Honestly, I'm ready to believe anything at this point. Maybe it is psychoactive. I mean, why not? It's 3 meters tall.
I think he's addicted to that thing.
Like a drug?
He has the symptoms of an addict, and not the normal symptoms.
His pupils appear to be dilated. They still are.
He examines the catatonic man's eyes.
It's not just chemical.
It's as if he's infatuated with it.
Some kind of oxytocin release mechanism? Would go with the pupils. But this is way above me, detective.
He's been here for a long time. Who knows how much of it is in his company?
He did seem distressed when it finally came to arresting him. Like he didn't want to leave this place. And the insect, maybe. I have absolutely forgotten to take notes. I hope I remember all of this. This will be one hell of a report. Thank God we have the photo.
We found some things in the phasmid's nest, Mr. Dross.
He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps you should.
Show him the detached scope.
I lost.
You lost it, Mr. Dross?
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there. With the help of a magpie phasmid.
The lieutenant observes the lens sparkling in your hand.
This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot?
Silence. Not even a sigh. You've gotten all you will out of this poor being.
I'm gonna let you rest now, Mr. Dross.
The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched and his mouth open.
Hang tight.
We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here. If we don't take too long.
Okay, let's hustle then, baby. this way? Not quite. Going a little bit over, but Mel's asleep on the couch. So we should be alright. She's not sick, she's just asleep. We woke up at 7 a.m. today, so it's bedtime. Thanks for checking though, 9-4. Yeah. She'll appreciate you worrying about her.
The skiff is swaying on the waves by the dock.
Let's return to the mainland.
Let's. We are done here.
The skiff rocks gently under your weight as you get in. The ride back is uneventful and quiet. But for the sound of conversation on the water, there is someone inland waiting for you. 2 men and a woman stand on the concrete square of a nameless village, looking at a small yellow boat as it draws closer. The sea is calm. You reach the jetty and climb out of the skiff.
Where are they? Here they are.
Look what the tide brought in.
Suddenly, his expression changes as he tilts his head.
Harry, you're bleeding all over the place. You're half dead.
Who are you people?
Hello, I'm Trent Heilerstam. I believe we've met on several occasions.
Oh yeah.
I'm your goddamn partner, Jean-Vic Kemar, and this is your special task force. Or what's left of it. Special Consultant Trent Heilerstam, Patrol Officer Judith Minot.
Hi.
We've come to scrape what's left of you off the pavement.
Lieutenant Kim Kisuragi, Prison 57. We've just come from the island, where our investigation led us. We might need your help with something later.
He adds, suddenly regaining his confidence.
As if he recalled that he's in fact a decorated police lieutenant and not a naughty boy.
But this is clearly a departmental matter, so I'm going to leave you to discuss it among yourselves.
No, Kim, you've got to have my back. Let's destroy him.
It's good to meet you, Lieutenant Kitsuhagi.
She says warmly, flashing the lieutenant the tiniest of smiles.
Letting the lieutenant know he shouldn't feel embarrassed over the shitstorm that's about to befall you.
What's this about?
Ari, we want to help you. Trent, I believe this is where you come in?
This is the horse-faced woman. I don't know why you named her that, but it was beyond idiotic. You should never address her using those words again.
I don't quite know what I'm doing here. I was asked to participate as an expert. I think I need to manage your expectations a little. I'm at best an enthusiast in cognitive science. My background is in something else entirely. I engage in neurology on a merely theoretical level. In fact, I should probably get going.
No, Trent, it's too late. You're part of this shit now. What have you got to say for yourself, shit kid?
What does he have to say for himself? He left you to catch the bullets.
Where have you been all this time? There's a mercenary tribunal.
God damn it, Harry.
Shifts his weight, crosses his arms, and looks you in the eye.
You told us to fuck off. You said we are cramping your style. You're detective god. Fuck everything. All will burn. Detect or die.
Wait, so you let me face a squad of trained killers alone just to teach me a lesson?
It wasn't like that.
Fuck you, Harry. We didn't know there was gonna be a tribunal, did we?
Why didn't you detect or die then?
Oh, you think it was cool? You saying that? Aesthetic somehow? You were crying when we got here. Breaking things. You said we were going into the abyss. None of us wanted to see the abyss, so we fucked off. Like you told us to.
You mentioned a task force?
Yeah, Major Crimes Unit, under Lieutenant Dubois and Vicomar. Ring any bells?
Refresh my memory. Who else is in this?
Refresh your memory? It's a goddamn Major Crimes Unit. There's you, me, Jude, Trant fucking Heidelstamm, and Guillaume Bevy.
He stares at you.
I'm technically just a civilian advisor.
Fuck you. You're part of this shit show.
Yeah, first, who's Guillaume Bevy?
Oh, that's an interesting story, actually. Guillaume Bevy is a police reporter who joined our team. He was really good. Then he left, because he lost faith in your ability to lead the unit. Other people have left too. Good, smart people. People we won't get back. Only me and this really patient patrol officer are still here. And Trant, because I'm forcing him to stay.
Okay, so what does the unit do?
Do? It's a major crimes unit. We clear the desk of cases so Precinct 41 doesn't look like the worst station in town. We're shit tier now, Harry. Because of you.
The 41st isn't...
He trails off, not wishing to finish the sentence. Duped again. No one's who they say they are.
Duped? Hey, here's a brilliant idea. Don't be a morbid drunk, and you won't be duped so easily.
Gardener, scab leader. This. Tell me at least you are who you said you were.
Yes, I'm still Kinki Solagi, still a lieutenant from Precinct 57.
Still caught up in this crossfire, too.
None of this is ringing any bells.
The bells aren't ringing because you have brain damage. Trant, this is where you come in. How bad is it?
Well, he doesn't have visible tremors, he talks without slurring, he can drive a boat, he's standing, reasoning. All good signs, but complete retrograde amnesia, episodic and semantic.
Yeah, that was classic Kim 9-4.
As displayed in a station call, our interactions with him, and I don't want to be a snitch, but also mine with him before when Harry did not seem to know who I was. It's all very interesting.
Interesting?
Yes, interesting. I have my theories, but I would like to hear Harry's thoughts first. Harry, what do you think happened to you? Neurologically, psychologically, and why not socioeconomically?
Something so sad happened to me that I couldn't be me anymore. It was a defense mechanism.
Psychotraumatic amnesia? Trant? I can go for that. Shit kid is a broken man. Always has been. Who isn't? I know I am. But you know what? I keep my shit together. Also, I know a person can't wipe their own mind, however traumatic it gets. That doesn't happen. You're lying. Or insane. Or both.
But Detective Vigmer, he has blanked out before.
I have?
Yes, a couple of times. After some of the more serious benders. One was after the two drunks case, the other when we looked into that mural.
Interesting. So at first he dipped his toes into it, prepared. That's where he would have gotten the idea, yes. Practice. And then he used alcohol to get there, so to speak.
What do you mean?
Well, here's my theory. What if this is an absolutely normal reaction to the world we're living in? What if this is not a significant anomaly at all? Something to be explained, approached as a defect? Look at the sensory input here.
He gestures toward the scenery.
Look at the ruins, the neon. Listen to the radio, the multitudes, the people. Live here for 40 years. As a police detective, he's like a magnetic reader on the world tape, to borrow a known metaphor. Harry's been pushed flat against it. Total input.
I think this is the final scene.
Hardwired to the free market.
I was gonna stop, but
He just needed for its end.
I figured I would finish because I was too close to the end.
Okay, Trant, thank you. That's absolutely meaningless. I'm glad we brought you.
You have a good night.
Will he or will he not be able to work in the major crimes unit? Is he a cretin now? I want to know that.
He's not a cretin, and he is able to do work. If not in his previous leadership role, then as a line detective.
I'm ready to lead again.
No one even mentioned that.
Final scene says Myrtles.
I misphrased my question. It should have been, is he able to put his clothes on and use the potty? Or do we need to get him on the disability pension?
What now?
Now, nothing. Now we're just going to stand here.
Just stand there.
Yeah. Just stand there. It's cool.
Really?
No. Now we did just that. What the fuck did you do to our motor carriage? Why is it there, Harry?
I drove it in the ocean when I was drunk.
So refreshing. It just admits it. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for destroying 45,000 real of police property. That's coming out of everyone's payslip. It doesn't matter. Your badge, Harry. Show me your badge.
I got my badge right here.
In a rush to demonstrate your badge, your eager fingers can't sustain a grip on the smooth plastic, and the badge slips out of your hand.
Catch it.
Not today, badge.
The drama is unnecessary. I got the badge. All is well.
And your gun?
We found it. Anyways, it's gone now.
Yeah, I checked the local pawn shop. You sold the pawnbroker a Villiers 9mm pistol to pay for booze. It worked too, didn't it? You're drunk right now, aren't you? You fucking bum. I can smell it all the way over here.
I'm not drunk. I haven't started drinking again.
So you forgot to drink? I don't buy it. Why do you smell like a corpse then?
He's wounded. It's been a long week, and he's handled an actual corpse.
No idea what you're smelling. I washed death off me.
The man doesn't reply, but his expression speaks for him. You should have done a better job, is what it's saying.
None of this matters. My odor situation. It's meaningless compared to what I've discovered.
What you've discovered? You let the suspect escape. A certain Glacier. Because you were too drunk to assess a flight risk.
We've read the report, Sari. Lieutenant Kitsuhagi's. We know.
Not taking her was the right thing to do. She gave me a vital clue that led us to the island.
Oh well. If she was nice. I'm not even gonna get into the other suspect. The one who shot herself. In the head. Or the fact that you very likely sold your gun for booze. That's peanuts. That's nothing. That's a humorous anecdote. Compared to the 8 people who were gunned down. The streets are literally red with blood, Harry. It was fucking mass murder.
He did everything he could. We did everything we could. The company hired and vetted mercenaries. Lieutenant Dubois got between them and the locals.
Here comes the cavalry.
He did so at considerable risk to his person. Remember, he was shot. We stopped an execution, not a negotiation. The loss of life was minimal compared to what it could have been.
I also solved the case. It's solved. All of it.
Detective, it's better if I do that.
Thank you for the input, Lieutenant Kitsuragi. I didn't mean to suggest you didn't handle the situation.
He brushes a stray strand of hair out of his eye and coughs.
You spent the week with him on this case. What is your take?
On the case?
On Lieutenant Geoffrey Dubois.
Well, the drinking, the gun losing, also losing the badge. That's all true. Although he has not been drinking on the job this week.
See?
1 week.
Then there's the self-flagellation issue. He likes to apologize profusely, making it sound like he's guilty of at least first-degree murder. It's not a good communication strategy for an officer. It's just strange, especially in light of his political views. Detective Dubois is, as you may know, A true blue moralist. A man of the center, not prone to political outbursts, which is commendable, but also at odds with his behavior. And then there's the motor carriage in the sea, something I was not present for. But despite all this, he is a great detective, one of the best I have seen, in fact. He can talk human beings into telling him everything, and he doesn't stop. In all the time I've spent with him, he has not once stopped pursuing leads, however far-fetched and tangential. He is tireless, madly driven. Well, except that one time when he stopped to sing karaoke, which by the way was a valiant effort. He really sang his heart out.
Oh, Cam.
Yeah, it was what it was.
Other than that one time, he has tirelessly worked on the case, and he solved it. We have a confession, a murder weapon, and the perpetrator, locked on the island right now, awaiting transportation. He apprehended a straggler who stayed hidden for 50 years, ever since the revolution, who's probably committed other murders over those years. Oh, and he also discovered a new species.
A new species?
A colossal stick insect. It was on the island, camouflaged as the reeds. It unfolded from the reeds. I think we may be dealing with the Insulindian phasmid.
He takes out the photo and shows it to the officers across the yard. Thick white snow falls all around you. Flakes stick to the glossy photo of the phasmid.
Oh. I only had one political alignment. Yeah, that's pretty normal. I shot straight. I knew what I was about. That's, it's interesting to hear, Murbles. I'm looking forward to seeing how other people played through.
You hear gasps beneath the howling of the wind.
As you can see, it's about 3 meters tall. In fact, we think it may be the largest land invertebrate ever discovered.
Say nothing.
Fucking hell is that? Is this somehow connected to the case?
Detective?
Yes, I believe the pheromone it emits may be responsible for the killer's mental degradation.
The old man was not aware of the phasmid's presence. Exhibiting a strange, atypical dementia, he fell into a stupor after its appearance. He became near catatonic.
So it is connected.
I must say, this is absolutely extraordinary. I don't even have words for it.
Yes, it really does make it hard to fire the drunk.
His tired eyes follow the photo as the lieutenant puts it away.
This is a very, very sad man who has just seen something that's made him forget his sadness. Now you make your case. Now is the time. Now or never.
The killer, Lilianovich Dross. We have a strong motive for him.
Lilianovich. A revolutionary matronym.
I don't have time for this. Straight to the motive, please.
Of course, excuse me. I just thought it was noteworthy.
He killed the mercenary in an act of jealousy.
Jealousy? I thought this Lilianovich was an old man. To have been hiding for 50 years, 70-something?
A strange psychosexual fixation, aggravated possibly by proximity to the phasmid and its chemicals. He himself gave a political reason, said he had killed an enemy combatant. Also, we have a sniper's nest with full view of the room in which the mercenary died, right on the island, and 2 officers on the scene that Mr. Dross confessed to.
It's a clean win.
It's way more than that.
I did all I could. Every second was a struggle.
I've never doubted you can pull yourself together and work in bouts. Bouts don't last. I can still smell the booze on the wind.
God damn it. Doesn't it ever leave? It is there, like in your bones or something. It will pass in time.
There was also a dead man on the boardwalk, a missing person I found.
Yes. Fallen through a gap in the boardwalk. Drunk.
How did you know I found him?
The body was transported to Precinct 41, our morgue. I had Tilbrook and Mullins take care of funeral arrangements and family stuff.
You're not the only cop in the world, Harry. This all comes back to us.
Still, good work with the missing person, Detective.
It's still a point for you. No denying it.
I also started a nightclub in the church.
What was that? It sounded like you set up a nightclub in the church.
Yeah, I did some kids a solid, turn their lives around.
4 kids were living in a tent on the ice. They were going to drown when it melted. It's not optimal, but the building was abandoned, so he put them in there. It's okay.
It's not that okay. Get off this subject now.
Also, the Fastman was female. The reeds are its nest.
Female? What makes you think so?
You had to see it. It had the subdued colors of a female. And the nesting behavior too, I think.
Incredible. Were there eggs in the nest?
Not as far as I could see. There were other things there, though.
I think it reproduces by parthenogenesis.
As in cloning itself? What makes you think so?
Just a hunch.
Interesting. Then it is especially vulnerable to disease. A single strain of bacteria could wipe out the entire species. We're probably talking conservation efforts here.
In his mind, he's already planning a nature reserve and knows a good guy for that.
It had mandibles that looked like hair, and it was completely white on the inside.
Yes, but also reed-colored, beige and brown, a little green on the outside. After unfolding from a single stalk, it still retained parts that looked like reed tufts on its limbs.
Incredible. The PR value of this is exceptional. Cop discovers new species. Maybe even discovers the Insulindian phasmid. No, that's too much.
This would really help with some of the problems we've been having.
Absolutely, this is great. This does not say vigilante murderers to me at all. This says science, news, human interest. You know, it's a really good thing you have that photo.
Without it,
You're doing good here. Perhaps only for a moment, but still. Quit while you're ahead? Or no?
So what do you say? Want to take this hot shit back?
I don't want to, but you discovered a new species and solved the murder. So I have to. Jude?
Anything that ends the trial is okay with me.
Agreed. The public relations potential of this is too valuable to let go.
Okay. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go.
Now you will finally get to know who you are.
Wait, I have a few questions before we go about who I am.
The man looks westward, impatiently, jingling his car keys in his pocket.
Who am I?
Who are you? You're a gym teacher, Harry.
What?
Well, obviously you're not a gym teacher anymore, but...
But before?
Before you were a cop, you were a gym teacher in Coron. It's getting really cold outside. Should we maybe...
That does explain a lot.
Harry, it explains everything. The running around, the jumping, the bicep girth, your inexplicable facial hair.
Kim. The collection of fallen sportswear I've amassed.
Some of your more old-school wording choices. Your posture, even. The constant stretches.
Also, this guy. Just everything about this guy. God, even this javelin-throwing freak here.
Why did I join the RCM then?
The regular. You found some chick. She inspired you to fight the big fight. Be more than you are. All that.
You, every morning, walking from Voyager Road to teach gym. She, leaving for the academy with her spring coat on. The air filled with the smell of smoke and raspberries, and incredible hope. An ocean full of hope.
Okay, I see now.
I knew it. I knew no normal human being can run like that. He's an honest-to-God gym teacher.
Why am I like this?
It's not a mystery. Some chick fucked you over. Also, you were drunk.
You really went with it too. Really maximized the damage.
Was her name Dora?
Yeah. Dora Ingelund, I think.
Not Dora Dubois.
So we weren't even married.
No one is married anymore. This is Revachol.
I've heard enough.
So have I. You bitterly dropped Dearest Dora and really tore me a new one. Twice a week, I think? It comes up.
The special consultant glances at his wristwatch.
Okay, am I a dirty cop working for La Puta Madre?
No,
No, because it's SNC to think.
you're too unstable to work for my boss. You're suicidal, Harry. No mob boss would take you.
Good answer.
I assure you, I wouldn't consult for a corrupt unit.
I told you it's not that bad.
Precinct 41. What kind of station is it?
Us? We're the bloody murder station. Haven't you heard? We're the bad guys. No one likes us.
That's not true. Jamrock is too big for one precinct. You are just understaffed, and everyone respects the 41st. You have Captain Price.
Thank you, Lieutenant. You're being kind. It is an understaffed station, and the district is too big, which is why we need to...
Get back to it. We left Torson and McLean to run the Sea Wing. It's not good.
Who really shoot up a church by any chance?
So he remembers that. Yes, there may have been a raid on some churches. It wasn't good press.
Shooting up churches never is. I was out of town, to be clear.
What happened? Why do we need to go there?
Our enemies were hiding in a church, to the best of our information. That's it. I'm not talking about this anymore. Your security clearance is shit tier right now. You have to wait for it to go up.
He means it. The RCM and its enemies will not be discussed on this coast.
So I work in the bloody murder station.
Okay, it's not the bloody murder station. It's an old converted silk mill with green desk lamps and coffee corner. A lot of good people work there, hard, every day.
Jamrock is the largest ghetto in River Shoal. Faubourg, technically, but it's divided into 11 districts. Jamrock only has us.
The press will blow over. Jamrock is lucky to have you, and it's often considered to be the greatest of the districts. You're lucky to have it.
Thank you again, Lieutenant.
The Phasman, I need to tell Lena about this ASAP.
Who is Lena?
A cryptozoologist. She lives in Jamrock on Tabernacle Road. She told me about the Phasman.
Tabernacle? It's on the way over. Near where you live on Perdition.
Fine, if we're gonna drop you off anyway.
She and her husband were conducting the search for the Phasmid. It's their discovery, in part. They should know as soon as possible. It would do you good to deliver some positive news for a change.
She is going to be over the moon.
Lieutenant Kisaragi, what will you do now?
Well, first I will go back to my station and write the most detailed report anyone has ever seen. It will have to be good to cover all these. Then I will have a serious talk with my captain.
About what?
Detective, we just stopped a small-scale war. Something is happening to Revachol.
He pulls up his collar, looks around. The cold spring light reflects in the lenses of glasses.
I don't know what yet, but it's going to be a hard spring for the RCM. We need to get ready, infiltrate, investigate.
Want to do that at Station 41?
Talk to Captain Price? I'd rather not ruffle the feathers of two captains with my doom-mongering.
No, I mean investigate. Come work in Precinct 41.
Work with Price? I'm flattered, but I don't know if I...
Would fit in. Am crazy enough. Can take the stress. He doesn't know how to finish the sentence.
Flattered? You're Lieutenant Kitsuragi. We would be flattered if you even considered.
I would have to tie things up in GRIH first. But, I mean, whatever is coming, Jamrock will be more central to it than the harbor.
Lieutenant certainly turns very serious all of a sudden.
And we also have a huge caseload, Lieutenant. Piles that we need to get back to. Mountains, even.
I do like the sound of that.
I'm ready.
Good.
She looks at you, then Vic Mayer.
Fuck it, let's go. Tron brought his motor carriage. It's a 20-minute drive to Jamrock.
The great district hums in the slowly falling snow. A chessboard of wooden houses, 80,000 living souls, and chimney stacks. Fire traps as far as the eye can see. From Main Street to Precinct 41, to Boogie Street, forking into the white horizon. You close your eyes and hear the dogs bark. A lone woman sits by a factory window, dreaming of meteorite strikes. On Rue de Saint-Jérôme, a square bullet slides into a square-shaped chamber. In Old South, a man without eyelids smiles. Spring has come. It's time. Torsen? Yes. McLean? Yes. Heidelstein? No. Vicmere? Yes. Dubois? Of course. Really? Nix Gottlieb looks up from the list. I hear he's unstable. You say that like it's a bad thing. Captain Ptolemy Price gestures with a ballpoint pen. It's dim in the office, and the curtains are drawn. Harry's our man. He'll pull through. When he does, he'll side with the RCM. Understood. Gottlieb returns to the list. Minot? Of course.
Wonderful. Then can we please just go back to Jamrock now?
Is that it? Seems so. Wow. Wild. We're gonna sit and let the credits roll out, but that was an interesting game. I'm gonna take some time to sort of collect my thoughts on it in the whole, and perhaps I'll make a short review of some kind or something, but I can say that so much of the writing was like poetry, and it touched so much on emotional strife in a way that was heavier than I expected it to be. Not like heavy in nature, but like heavier as in like harder hitting or like emotionally resonant in a way that I wasn't fully expecting. But really enjoyed it. There were a few weeks when I wasn't exactly looking forward to it, but the last couple of weeks, especially as everything started clicking together, was great. Plus, it was a fun and interesting thing. It made you think a little bit about politics, though not always in the most constructive way. And it was fun to think about just human interaction. That was some of the best parts. The lead writer's a novelist, rare for video game writers. I mean, it lines up, Merbles. It's a good story. It didn't... Sorry, where to put this? It didn't seem like everything was always there for a purpose, but it was pulled together just enough that you could make the argument for why any given thing was there, and scattershot enough that no matter what kind of person you were, there was probably something for you. Which is, commendable. Also, the soundtrack was pretty fun. I'm enjoying this. Gosh, I need to catch up and get the last few of these on YouTube. Also, one thing that I really want to do that I'm looking forward to is to, I want to take every roll I ever made in the game. I'm going to watch through all the footage. I'm going to take every roll I ever made in the game and make a supercut to see what my overall, like, luck probability was, because I had that 1 week where everything was bad. So I want to see if we came out lucky or unlucky. Place your bets. There's a lot of detail that I missed. For instance, Joyce, she isn't a representative wild permanent, she's the head of the company. Lots of details like that change the outlook on stuff. Yeah, that's fair, Merbles. I get a sense that there's a lot of depth, and it's probably hard to explore all of it in a single playthrough. I mean, I imagine that there are branching paths. Oh, no, yeah, I'm not offended or anything. But I sort of appreciate having had the experience for my own experience of it, you know what I mean? It's kind of like when there are Easter eggs in game. If you leave enough of them around, each person finds their own subset of them. My goodness. These guys voiced so much. Gosh, it must have taken them forever to do all the voice acting, especially the guy that speaks with all that vocal fry. That guy must have been long days in the recording booth. It's usually hard to do that without messing with your voice. Cindy the Skull is such a good name. Yeah, this was just such a... The thing it reminds me most of is poetry. Like, there was definitely a story, like, I'm reminded of novels, the music is there, but it just reminds me of, at school, there was a... What's the term for it? It's basically a place where you could, like, go and make tea and have cookies, and people would, like, hang out there. I'm trying for the life of me to remember what it was, but a lot of the kids that took like creative writing or were really into like indie music would hang out there. And the vibe of this game reminds me of that. Not in a totally bad way. I took creative writing poetry in college. My God, this is long. But, you know, we played for, what, 30 hours, 40 hours, something like that? On a video suggestion for the game, I recommend Judicial Opinions, What Makes Disco Elysium a Modern Classic by Noah Caldwell-Gervais. I agree about it with the poetry thing. I think the Shivers skill is a lot of that vibe. Here's my email. If you wouldn't mind, can you email me a link to that? That would be something I want to look up, but I'm not sure that I'm going to remember right now. I have to go attend to a sleeping girlfriend. But I absolutely would watch that, Marbles. I'm trying to decide if I want to watch stuff and then write a review, or if I want to write a review and then watch all the things. So having it in a place where I can remember it later is also useful. Oh, that's fine, Marbles. Don't worry about it. And if you want to like make a fake email or something so I don't have yours, that doesn't bother me. There are plenty of places where you can create like a 10-minute email or something if you want to maintain your own privacy. That wouldn't offend me. Digging this music. Team Waldo. What is Disco Waldo? Let me look that up. Doesn't say. Googling provides nothing. My goodness. Yeah. It is time to call it a night. I'll be done in the next couple of minutes as well. Have a good night, Mama Bear. See you next week. Happy Mother's Day, by the way, again. It was good to see you. Testronic Translation Services. The German team. And they're going all out. The French team. Man, they're trying to get everybody. And that's fair. Oh, man. Yeah, not a lot more to say. Just trying to let the credits play through. Oh, they reference the dog, Ziggy. That's cute. Larian Studios. I wonder if they've made anything else. Oh, a lot. Baldur's Gate, Divinity Original Sin, Divine Divinity, Divinity 2, Beyond Divinity. Net Kick. Mankind, be vigilant. We love you. The studio is ZAUM, new studio. It's just someone they were inspired by. Well, I think that's it, everybody. I need to duck out right now, but have a good night. I'll see you guys next week. Love you all.